I've spent years trying to understand women. And I don't mean in that cliche way guys talk about it. I mean really trying to see what lies behind the smiles, the silence, that I'm fine that never actually means fine. Today, I want to tell you the 10 biggest secrets I've learned about women's secrets that most never say out loud. But you feel them if you really pay attention. Secret 1. Women don't fall for looks, they fall for how you make them feel. I used to think attraction was about how good you looked, how well you dressed, how confident you appeared. But I learned something. A woman's real attraction starts in her emotions. You could have movie star looks, but if you make her feel small, unseen, or unsafe, she'd disconnect. The secret is not in your appearance, but in the emotional world you build around her. She remembers how you made her feel long after she forgets what you said. Secret 2. When a woman says, "I'm fine," she wants you to notice she's not. That phrase used to drive me crazy. I'd ask, "What's wrong?" And she'd say, "Nothing." And I'd believe her. But over time I realized it's never about the words, it's about the silence behind them. When a woman says, "I'm fine," what she's really saying is, "Show me that you care enough to see through my walls." It's not manipulation. It's vulnerability disguised as strength. She wants to be understood without having to explain every detail. Secret 3. Women test you not to break you, but to see if you're real. This one took me years to figure out. A woman's test isn't about control. It's about safety. She wants to know if your calm stays calm when she's emotional, if your promises stay true when things get messy. These little moments, the ones you think are drama, are actually her way of asking, "Can I trust you when I can't even trust myself?" Pass that test, and you'll see a loyalty that no words can describe. Secret 4. Confidence isn't what turns her on, it's emotional certainty. A lot of guys fake confidence. They act like they've got it all figured out, but women sense the truth like radar. Real confidence isn't loud. It's the quiet belief that you can handle whatever comes. A woman isn't drawn to a man who knows everything. She's drawn to a man who's sure of who he is even when he knows nothing for sure. Emotional certainty is what makes her feel safe enough to let her guard down. Secret 5. Women crave attention, but not the kind you think. It's not about constant compliments or endless texts. It's about presence. When you're with her, really be with her. Listen to her stories like they matter, even the small ones. Remember what she said 3 days ago and bring it up casually. That's the kind of attention that melts her heart. Women don't want the spotlight. They want the warmth of being seen. Secret 6. Every strong woman hides a soft heart that she guards with everything she has. I used to think strong women didn't need anyone. They had walls, independence, confidence. But behind that armor is often a girl who's been hurt too many times. She doesn't show it easily, but she feels deeply. If she acts like she doesn't need love, it's because she once gave it to the wrong person. Treat her strength not as a barrier, but as a shield she learned to build for survival. Secret 7. A woman's silence speaks louder than her words. When she stops arguing, when she stops explaining, when she just goes quiet, that's when you've lost her. Silence isn't peace. It's resignation. It's her saying, "I've given up on you understanding." I learned the hard way that silence means more than shouting ever could. When a woman's voice fades, her heart already has. Secret 8. Women don't want perfection, they want consistency. She doesn't need grand gestures, luxury gifts, or romantic speeches. She needs to know you'll show up, even on the days you don't feel like it. Consistency builds trust, and trust builds love. Every time you keep a promise, no matter how small, she feels a little safer. Every time you say one thing and do another, she remembers that too. Women don't expect you to never fall short. They just want to know you're trying. Secret 9. Women fall in love slowly, but they fall out of love silently. You rarely see it coming. It starts when she stops asking you to change, stops reminding you of what she needs. You think everything's calm, but inside, she's detaching piece by piece. By the time she leaves, she's already gone emotionally. That's why communication matters, because when she's quiet, it's not peace. It's goodbye. Secret 10. A woman doesn't want you to fix her problems. She wants you to understand them. Men are wired to solve. A woman comes to you with an issue, and your first instinct is to fix it. But most of the time, she's not asking for a solution. She's asking for empathy. She wants to be heard, not handled. When you tell her, I understand, when you listen without trying to fix, it's like you give her a safe place to breathe. That's what love feels like to her. Not answers, but understanding. Now, here's the real truth behind all 10 secrets. Every woman is different, but they all share one thing. They feel deeply, sometimes too deeply. And in a world that often tells them to be strong, to be quiet, to be polite, they crave spaces where they can just be. To love without fear, to trust without being judged, to cry without being told to calm down. And if you can offer that, even for one woman, you'll understand more about love than most people ever will. Because here's what I finally realized. Women aren't a mystery to be solved, they're a mirror. They reflect the energy you bring, the respect you give, and the love you show. When you understand a woman, you understand yourself. When you make her feel safe, she gives you a version of love that changes everything. People often ask me, why do women hide what they feel? But they don't. They show it in their eyes, their tone, their silences, their small acts of care. You just have to listen differently. The way she remembers the little things you say, the way she withdraws when she's hurt, the way she checks on you even when she's mad, those are all her ways of saying, I care. Women love in details, not declarations. So if you ever find yourself wondering what a woman really wants, it's simpler than you think. She wants to feel safe enough to be soft, loved enough to be vulnerable, and valued enough to be herself. She doesn't need a man who's perfect. She needs a man who's present, and maybe that's the final secret, the one I didn't realize until much later. Women remember the moments that make them feel alive. The laughter, the late night talks, the way you look at her when you think she's not watching. Those are the moments that build love. Not the expensive dates, not the perfect words, just the truth of being seen. If you've ever loved a woman, really loved her, you know she's both chaos and calm. She'd challenge you, confuse you, and teach you more about yourself than you ever wanted to know. But once you earn her trust, once she lets you see her real self, you'll understand what strength looks like wrapped in tenderness. You'll understand what love really means. So maybe the real lesson isn't just about women. It's about humanity, about seeing people not for what they show, but for what they hide. Every woman carries stories she'll never tell, dreams she's afraid to admit, and feelings too powerful for words. And the rare person who sees all that and still stays, that's the one she'll never forget. That's the 10th and truest secret of all. Women never forget the man who made them feel understood. Not loved, not desired, understood. Because understanding is love in its purest form. And if you've ever seen a woman look at you with that quiet, unspoken trust, you know exactly what I mean.